What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Universal Mastery. Welcome back to my public YouTube channel. Now, what exactly am I going to be speaking about in this today's video? I'm going to be talking about a subject that is life-changing if you actually understand what it is that I'm talking about. I'm going to be talking about why you want to ask why. The reason is because there's always a deeper root to absolutely everything, but you most often will never be able to get to that root unless you have that knowing of the, I could say, power of asking why. This is the beautiful curiosity that exists within everyone and can actually help you understand the nature of the universe and the nature of your own being so much better, okay? So if you want to gain this awareness and you want this to really serve you in your own life, then definitely consider staying tuned for the rest of the video. All right, let me first start with introducing myself just in case you don't know who I am. My name is Jeremiah Schwartz. I am a professional occultist. I am fully initiated in the entirety of the Kabbalistic tree. I am studied when it comes to the 22 major arcana of the tarot deck, and I'm also studied when it comes to planetary energies in direct association with astrology. Now, with all that being said, we're going into the topic at hand here. So I said the key is why. Why is the key why, okay? Because in life, we're given these perspectives, we're given these beliefs, we're given information, and we are blindly told to follow it. We're blindly told to just take it at face value and say, oh, this is it because it's coming from someone else who must know what they're talking about, so let me just accept it. Or it could even be as deep as accepting within yourself, this is what it is and I'm fine with it because that must be what life has to offer. So if you're living, let's say, like a life that is very mediocre, a life that is not fun, a life where you feel like you're not living your purpose, right? You feel like you're cut off from some sort of maybe cosmic power, right? How many people do you think feel like that and accept it? They're just living their life saying, this is the life that I'm meant to live, I guess. It is what it is. I'm not even going to question it. This must be what my hand has dealt me. And that is definitely a place of consciousness that many people actually need to be in and need to experience, because in that space of consciousness, there are certain lessons. Now, these lessons are not the most fun lessons because they are tied to different forms of pain and different forms of suffering. Because when you're not following your soul's purpose, that is what the universe provides you in little streams so that you can eventually wake up. You can eventually realize, okay, I've had enough. Now I'm going to do something different. It's a common pattern. I'm telling you, as someone who works with a lot of individuals who are in the spiritual self-development. I've talked to many people through consultations. I've had many experiences in my own life talking about spiritual matters. And the common pattern I see over and over again is someone gets to a point of too much to bear, too much to handle. We could even say a certain degree of a threshold. And then that threshold is what gives them a breakthrough. It's like there's so much pain, so much anger, so much stress that eventually the person usually leads to a breakthrough. And the way to get to that breakthrough is actually much more simple than what you would think. It generally revolves around letting go. So it was typically something they were held on to because they thought they needed it. But then when they kind of like let it go and they say, all right, maybe there's another way to do things. Maybe there's another path for me. Let me let go. That's oftentimes when the breakthrough happens, in combination with the pain and the suffering that they had to go through to get to that breakthrough. Think of the breakthrough as like a dam of water building up, and eventually it builds up so much that it just knocks out the dam. So what I'm talking about is very important to understand there, but we want to focus on the word why, because the word why is a word that obviously has an energetic significance to it, and it helps to get deeper. Okay, the word why literally always helps to get deeper. Now, we are moralistically programmed to think that when someone says why, it oftentimes can be seen as something that is offensive, or like you're questioning authority, or you don't believe, right? That's why we say why. Like, why am I doing this? Why are you telling me this? Why do I feel the way that I feel? It's a word that always draws the awareness deeper inside of the self. Literally, if you think about it, like why, there's got to be something that follows that why that helps get you that much closer to understanding what it is that you're supposed to know. But a lot of people are afraid to ask why because of the moralistic programming. So they just believe what people are saying, and then they oftentimes look at the person they're receiving it from. And they're like, oh, this person must know what they're talking about. Sometimes, it comes down to, oh, they're certified. Oh, they take care of other people. They're professional. They do this for a living. Let me just take their word and completely believe it as if it's my truth as well, without ever asking why. Because once again, there are a lot of people that if you ask why to them, they can actually get offended. And that prevents a lot of people from wanting to ask why, because the human nature, especially with the moralistic programming overlaying on top of it, doesn't want to disrupt socialization. So the natural human nature wants to be in harmonious socialization, which is wonderful. And being in harmony with other humans is very important for all aspects of life. But when there's an overlay, or when there's a program where in order to better serve yourself, or in order to better reach your highest potential, you actually have to kind of break through that programming, which means you may be told something by somebody who doesn't actually know what they're talking about, thinks they know what they're talking about because someone told it to them, and you may just take it for complete truth, and that information or that advice could actually hurt you. It could actually damage you. It could be something that totally ends up working against you. Now, if you were to ask why, for example, if someone tells you some sort of advice and it doesn't feel right, it's like, I don't know, like something inside of me tells me there may be a different way to approach this. It's that simple feeling and that simple spark of awareness that then you can kind of follow up and say, well, why are you telling me this? What does this mean? Like, why do you believe this? Did someone tell you? Why do you believe it? Like, and this is not meaning, like when you say why, or when you ask why to another person, it's not to say they're wrong by any means. It's not to say that the advice they're giving you is off. It's just to learn where does their advice come from? Why do they believe that? Why do they feel that way? This helps you better understand who you're communicating with and why they're telling you what they are telling you. And then you can make a better decision based on if you're going to receive that information as truth. Now, this is just an example of asking why in a social situation, like in a communication with another person. But this concept of why should always be applied to the self as well, and always first and foremost. So let's say someone gives you some advice that you feel like is not the best advice for you, and then you go about your day, you split ways with that person. Well, you can really ask yourself, like, do I believe what they said? And if the answer is yes, then why do I believe it? Or if the answer is no, I don't really resonate with it, why don't I resonate with it? What are the reasons for that? So asking why is so powerful, and it helps get to the root of many, many issues and many problems, especially when it comes to psychological, emotional, and spiritual self-development. So why am I feeling so fatigued? Why am I feeling like my life is going upstream rather than going with the stream? Why do I not like the relationships that I have in my life? Why do I find myself gravitating towards all kinds of substance abuse? See, asking that why question is now getting you in a better position to go deeper to that. Because as I said, all things have a deeper root. Every single thing truly and absolutely has a deeper root that is correlated with it. You will never get to that deeper root until you start asking that why question, whether it's externally or internally, and quite frankly, you need a little bit of both. This is the foundation of what you really need to understand with this topic that I'm covering right now. There is no thing that happens for no reason, which literally means everything actually truly does have a divine purpose or a divine order to it, even if we can't perceive that, even if we don't understand that. All things have a deeper meaning, and this deeper meaning is in the spiritual. It is in the metaphysical realm. So when it comes to the physical, when it comes to the emotional, or let me say this, when it comes to the physical, when it comes to the mental, and then when it comes to the emotional, the deepest root is going to be the metaphysical. It is going to be the spiritual. So if you're having a hard time asking the why question and really figuring out the roots of whatever it is that you could potentially be dealing with in your life, you have to consider what I'm saying right now. You have to know that the deepest root of what is happening in your life, whether it's a physical thing, whether it's a mental thing, or whether it's an emotional thing, it is rooted in the spiritual, which means you can get so far to alleviating whatever disease or dis-ease you may be dealing with in life, but you can only get so far until you open up the opportunity that maybe it's rooted in the metaphysical. Maybe this is rooted in the spiritual. And obviously, when you open that door and you allow yourself to go there, this is when answers, or this is when new perspectives really start to flow into your consciousness that actually give you a sense of, wow, now I'm actually internally on a soul level satisfied with this problem I'm dealing with, because I now understand the spiritual root as to why this happened in the first place, or as to why this is taking place in the first place. So remember, when you're not asking the question why, and you're just taking advice from other people and you're believing it like it's completely true, or you're just doing research on certain things that you think you need to study, and you're not going deeper with it, and you're just taking the information at, taking it, and you're just absorbing it like it's 100% true for you, you can only get so far covering up symptoms. Okay, whether the symptoms are physical illness, psychological illness, mental illness, emotional illness, you can only get so far covering symptoms. It's like when these things are spiritually rooted, until the spiritual side of it is addressed, those diseases are never going to go away. So can you imagine doing as many things as you possibly can to your best ability, everything on the logical front that you could possibly do to help relieve yourself from whatever type of stress you're experiencing, and you do all the things right, you cross all your T's, you dot all your I's, and yet you're not improving. Or maybe you're improving a little bit, but there's still a massive gap that you feel like you can't jump over. It's like there's something that's just not working, and you don't get it because on paper, you're doing everything right. Well, guess what? The reason why this can happen, the reason why this does happen is because, as I said, The root is always in the spiritual. It's in the metaphysical. Okay? Imagine this. You're in a relationship with someone, and in this relationship with the person, you start developing a weird sense of depression, like a feeling you've never felt before. And you start saying like, this is weird. I don't like this. Why am I experiencing this right now? I've never really felt this before. Okay, let me go to the doctor. Let me see what they have to say. Okay, the doctor says maybe you should go to a therapist. And then they say, here, while you go to the therapist, let me prescribe you some antidepressants. And look, as I say this, I'm not your doctor, so definitely take that into account. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just explaining what I've been able to observe in life around me. But the doctor prescribes you antidepressants. They send you to a local therapist that's covered by your insurance. And you're just realizing like you're not feeling better. You're like, okay, I'm taking the drug, I'm doing therapy, but I'm still depressed. Why is this happening? Why am I feeling like my soul spark is being cut off? Why am I feeling like I'm unable to live my life to the fullest degree that I know I possibly can? Well, maybe, just maybe, something to take into consideration, maybe the relationship that you're in is preventing you from living your soul purpose, because maybe you've created a story around that relationship or a specific mindset around that relationship that actually is out of alignment with what you're here to actually do. Therefore, you being in that relationship with a partner that is not meant for you is going to, on a spiritual front, on the deepest rooted spiritual front, going to affect you in a negative way, because it's trying to wake you back up to your soul's purpose. It's trying to wake you back up to the path that you're meant to be walking. So this whole time, the person's dealing with a form of depression, and they're doing everything on the physical front to try to fix the situation, but they're not looking deeper. They're not looking at the potential relationship they're in. They're not considering that maybe this has to do with my soul. Maybe this has to do with like me not living the life I'm here to live, like I am supposed to live. Okay, so once again, the person might change their diets, they might change their routines, they might get more exercise, they might make all these changes, yet if they're not addressing the spiritual change or the spiritual root of the issue, that depression or whatever illness it could be will stay there, no matter what. So this is the next piece that we need to really understand. As I said, this is a part of the foundation. Nothing happens for no reason. So you're not crazy. Your depression does not mean you are crazy. Your disease, whatever it is, does not mean you are crazy. And also, guess what? Your body is not attacking you. There is not something attacking you. See, this is the common program in our mass collective, which likes to say, your body's working against you. Something's out of balance. Your body's attacking you. And there's slight truth to it because of this spiritual principle that I'm talking about. But that's not actually the source message of what's happening. That's not actually fully what's taking place. Your body's not attacking you. Your body is producing an extremely intelligent response to get you to become the most powerful, healthy version of yourself. So if you're not in alignment with that path and you're not actively allowing yourself to try to get more in alignment with that because of something you're holding on to or something you're attached to, once again, on a spirit level, your soul and energies from, the cosmos can literally affect you in a negative way to get you to wake up, like putting that pressure on the dam to then give you a breakthrough so you can finally be off on your soul journey again, okay? And this doesn't happen necessarily to everyone. There are nuances to it. So the more spiritually gifted you are, the more spiritually attuned you are, the quicker that these course corrections will be taking place. There are people that can stay in relationships that are not meant for them for literally the rest of their life until they die. But that just is because that's where their soul is in regards to their evolution. They didn't have the level of intelligence, or they didn't have the level of experience to really learn and then integrate that lesson. So they're allowed to be in that relationship and kind of go through the pain that it eventually brings. Because as I said, when you're going against your soul, no matter who or what you are, there's always going to be a form of universal resistance that comes against you. We could think of it on a metaphysical level. Your higher self is working against you. It's like your higher self actively tries to come against you to show you what you're doing that is out of alignment with your true self. So even in the concept of the health realm of autoimmune diseases, it is so often just put out there like, oh, your body's attacking you. So you're doing, something's off, or you did something, or something triggered an autoimmune response, and now your body's against you. Your body's attacking you. And this is not a good thing. This is not a valuable thing for the majority of the human species, because immediately they start creating a paradigm where they no longer trust themselves and they no longer trust their bodies. They now think their own being is attacking them, and they are forever and permanently going to have to live in that state. And remember, when you're going against your soul, yes, there's an aspect of your own energy field coming against you, but it's not doing it to destroy you and wipe you off or wipe you out. It's doing it to wake you up. So the source principle is that these things are spiritually rooted, and they are happening for a divinely intelligent reason that you probably don't understand. And this reason is in your best interest. So until you can finally surrender your mindset and your attachments and your beliefs, then you can get the healing that you're actually looking for. Then you can start to feel the power that you know you have. And then you can start manifesting a life where you have a YouTube channel and you teach exactly what you love, and you make a lot of money doing it, and it gives you so much freedom in life to do other things that revolve around your spiritual self-development, like me, okay? And once again, I'm not perfect. I fall into these cycles of growth as well. We all do. So there are little things that I, every now and then that I get stuck on, that I realize, oh, I'm attached to this. I need to let go of this. One of my biggest attachments in my life was addiction. And that was deeper rooted. And I asked why? Why am I addicted? Why do I keep falling back to these patterns or to these cycles? And that went back to my family. It went back to some deep-rooted traumas in my mother and things in that nature. So I'm sharing that so that you can actually see how deeply rooted these things are. But to just understand, because you don't need to know the root logically. You don't need to, oh shit, like my life is not fun right now. My life sucks. I feel like crap. I don't even want, there's probably a lot of you that listen to me that have either experienced in your past a state of depression that makes you not even want to live anymore, or you may be in that right now as you're listening to this. I can imagine there's plenty of people that are in that state right now listening to this, and this is offering a message from the universe, from me to you, that you probably need to hear right now. And then if anyone's going to be experiencing this in the future, then this is just leading up to you being able to understand what's actually happening. All of these things are deeply rooted in the realm of the spirit, and they are happening for your favor. They are, as crazy as it seems and as hard as it is to believe and feel, they are in your best interest. They are actually happening for a reason. The source is not allowing any illness or suffering to exist without the other polarity involved, without the chance or the ability to realize, wow, I'm doing this to myself because I'm not following my purpose. Because we're all here to evolve, and we're all here to eventually get to a position where what it is that we do is help others evolve. So you can imagine when you're working a job that is very closed off and is much smaller in consciousness than where you actually are based on what you've already been through in your life experience, you're cutting your soul off. And you're doing it to yourself for probably mundane reasons. Oh, the job pays me well. I like my boss. The people are cool. But in reality, your soul is being suppressed by you. And then what happens? You get a disease, you get depression, you get extreme anxiety, you get a gut infection, you get a staph infection, something happens, you get a virus, whatever. And then you start suffering more, and then you're like, okay, I gotta let go. And some people hold on even longer. And then some people recognize the lesson a little bit quicker and kind of let go. And then whenever you do let go and you trust the process again, the universe starts working with you. Your soul starts fueling you again. It literally starts aligning the unconscious realm to put you in a position where things are working out in your interest. Okay? So with that being said, that is exactly what I wanted to say in this video. So I'm going to wrap it up there. If this was something that you got value from, then definitely come down here and hit the thumbs up button. Also come down here and hit the notification bell because I post videos as often as I can. And then come down here and hit the subscribe button because by subscribing, you are further linking into my content. And when you are further linking into the content, you're able to get more value from exactly what it is that I'm teaching. Okay? So I'm limited on time right now, so I'm just going to show you exactly where you can go in order to get any of my services. Okay, so the first link in the YouTube description is where you can join my Patreon. On my Patreon, I have an entire vault of exclusive content that is more advanced and more personal than what you're getting here right now. Okay, and there's over 200 members on the Patreon as we speak. And I will be posting even more actively as time goes on. Okay, because I'm in the process of actually going through a move right now. And it's going to be a lot easier to be posting on the Patreon rather than to the public channel for just a period of time. All right. Then at the second link below in the YouTube description, this is where you can book a tarot card reading with me. Very unique tarot card reading. Okay. And then you also have an option to book a one-on-one call with me. So if you want to book a one-on-one based on you studying from the stuff that I'm teaching and you want to talk to somebody like myself who's had a lot of experience with these different subjects, then I would definitely recommend that. Okay. Now, if you're taking your practice to a deeper degree, I have mentorship options, 6 weeks and 3 months. So we'll leave that there. You know where to find it. Second link below is where you can find all those services. Then as you move into the third link below, this is where you can become a YouTube member. And simply as being a YouTube member, you're gaining access to an entire multitude of different benefits that I'm not going to go into right now, but just go ahead and check it out. Okay, just look into the YouTube membership. You can see all the different things that it offers with that. So with that being said, that's where I'm going to wrap it up. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate all of you very, very, very much. And I hope you all have an amazing rest of the day or night, wherever you are. And I will see you in the next video. Peace.